Okay, so now that we've completed Lab 1 and Hyper-V is all set, we're going to get into Lab 2, which is configuring the servers, which includes completing the post-installation tasks, adding rules and features, converting the GUI interface to server core, using desired state configuration, and using the server core interface. So I'm going to minimize this and go into Hyper-V. Now, I did close all of my servers. So they're all shut down. I just want to make sure that I've updated all the RAM on all three. So now all three machines are off. I click on server C, go into settings, and click on memory and change this one to 2048 for 2 gig of RAM, and then OK. Now I can review the settings. If I click on server C, oops, there's server B and server A. What I'm going to do is, before I go too far, I think I'm going to go ahead and create a checkpoint for each. So checkpoint, checkpoint, and checkpoint. This way, in case we do get through the lab and something happens, we can always go back to this checkpoint. Okay, let's go into double-click server A, double-click server B, and double-click server C, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, move my machines around a little bit here. Start A, start B, and then start C. Okay, let me go ahead and just make these a little bit larger. Connect. Connect. Go ahead and log in. Okay, I'm going to go to server B. So it's still booting. And so is server A. Okay, now that both server managers, let's go to server B and go to local server. And we already have it named as server B. We did that in the previous lab. Our IP address has already been assigned, and it looks like our time zone is also correct. That actually takes us through 2.1. So before we go too far with that, we now have to go to server A and go to local server. Actually, I don't even need to go to local server here. I need to go into manage, add rules and features. Next, 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 and add directory domain services. Add features, next, 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 install. I'll let this install and I'm going to push this on pause. Okay, now that's been added, it says it's installed, installation was succeeded. We're going to go ahead and click on close, click on our little yellow triangle, and promote the server to a domain controller. We're going to go ahead and add a new forest, and we're going to call this adatum.com, and next. And then put in the password as soon as it comes up. There we go. And that's that capital PA $$W0RD. Next. Next. I noticed as I'm going through the lab workbook that there's a lot of steps that aren't covered, that are briefly mentioned in the textbook, but it doesn't say to specifically make server A a domain controller, but it applies because server B has to join it. Next. 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 And then install. Okay, this comes up that you're about to be signed out, and that's fine. Close. Server was successfully configured as a domain controller, and it's going to restart. Okay, so now it's rebooted. So then sign back in. Okay, let's take a look at local server. And here we have server A is now a member of the domain ADATUM. Remote management is enabled. Eastern time zone, everything looks okay there. Let's go ahead and open up our file folder. Click on network. I'm going to turn on network discovery and file sharing. See server C so far, that's a good sign. So I'm going to close out of this and minimize this. Now I want server B to join that domain, so I'm going to click on the work group, click on change, select domain, adatum.com, and then OK. Okay, well, we're going to put in administrator. Okay, server B is now a part of the domain. And close. And I'll go ahead and let it restart now. But server B is now a part of the domain. of ADA-TUM. Now when this boots up, we're going to go into add roles and features. To install additional components. So I'll pause it for now until it comes back up. Okay, let's log back in as administrator. Okay, let's go ahead and click on Manage. Add roles and features. And next, next. Next, and this is roles. I want features. I want to add a feature called web server. So I'm going to scroll all the way down until I find web server. On previous web server. It's a role. Add features, and on the select features page, we want to select group policy management. Internet printing clients, and Windows Server backup. Okay, we're going to go ahead and click on Next, 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 and Install. Once this installation is completed, we've completed exercise 2.2, and this is done. We're going to go into exercise 2.3, which is converting a GUI interface to a server core interface. And we're going to do that using the server B. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and click on Close. And we're going to go back, and now we're going to remove roles and features. So we're going to go into Manage, remove roles and features, and next, and next. We find the user interface and infrastructure. Okay, and I'm going to expand this. And we want to uncheck the box for graphical management tools and infrastructure. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Remove Features. And Next. And Remove. While we continue to wait for server B to remove the GUI, I'm going to go over to server C and start exercise 2.4. The instructions say to log on to server C with the domain adatum/administrator account, but this one hasn't, the server C hasn't joined that domain yet, so we're going to go ahead and join the domain. So I'm going to click on provide computer name and domain and change. Click on domain, adatum.com, and then OK. Administrator. And then welcome to domain. So now all 3 servers are on that domain. Close. I'll go ahead and let this restart now. And we're still waiting for server B to remove the GUI. Okay, now it says a restart is pending, so I'm going to go and click on close. And we need to restart this machine, so I'm going to right click, shut down, and restart. Alright, let's check on server C and minimize server B. Exercise 2.4 wants us to log on to server C and then go into the Windows PowerShell from the Tools menu. So as soon as it comes up, we'll go into Tools. Okay, let's go ahead and log in. And you'll notice it says server C/administrator. We don't necessarily want server C per se. We want the Atom domain. So adatum, oops, wrong way. Switch user, other user. Okay, so log in to adatum. So I'm going to type in administrator. Wrong way. adatum. And now the password. Okay. Okay, server B has come up, so I'm going to go and log into server B. Okay, and now it takes us into our GUI. Let's take a look at server C. Okay, so we're going to come back to server B here in a little bit. Under server C, we need to click on Tools. Okay, Server Manager. Okay, so according to exercise 2.4, server C should already be Windows Server 2012 R2. So before we can get into that next exercise, we actually have to change our media from server 2008 to server 2012. I went ahead and I've already done it on this one. Just go into media, DVD, you can eject the current ISO, and I went ahead and I attached the new ISO for 2012. And then I'm going to click on start. And I'm going to reboot this machine. So once I install server 2012, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go ahead and install server 2012 onto server C, and they will continue with exercise 2.4. Alright, so back on server C, I signed in to, server B. I signed into server B, and the first thing I did is I typed in PowerShell. I clicked on enter, and it gave me my PowerShell command line interface. So the lab challenge is to remove those 3 features that we had added previously. That was the group policy management, internet printing client, and Windows Server backup. I went ahead and uninstalled the Windows Server backup just to show you that it does work. And this is the correct command line: uninstall -Windows features, Windows feature space -name. And then you're going to put in the name of the feature, and you don't want to use spaces here, you want to use the dashes. And then after you put in the last part of the name, there's a space and then a dash and then remove. So let's do another one. Let's do internet printing client. Uninstall Windows feature space name space internet dash printing client space dash remove. I may not recognize that particular name, so let's try this. Uninstall Windows feature name IPC dash remove. Alright, let's try group policy management. And I'm going to try it with the different words. Once this is done installing the second file, we're going to go ahead and reboot. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reboot now. Okay, as you can see, we've got server B updating, server C is finished installing server 2012, so I'm just going to put in the password. Now you'll notice I haven't put in a domain. That's because we have to re-enter the domain for the server C. Okay, server C is booted up. Click on local server. And change the IP address. And then okay. Close. Close. Go to the time zone. Eastern. Okay. And okay. And then we're going to go here. Change server C and see if it'll attach itself to the domain controller. Yay, okay, good. And we'll go ahead and let it reboot. And then okay, close, and restart now. And it looks like server B is still rebooting. So I'm going to go into the PowerPoint that I've created, and the lab challenge involved using the core interface to remove a feature. We had to go to PowerShell, and then under PowerShell we entered uninstall Windows feature dash name space Windows Server backup, remove, and then we also did an uninstall, Windows feature dash name GPMC for group policy management console, and a dash remove. And then to add the GUI back, the first thing we did was get dash Windows feature star GUI star, and that listed all the features that had the GUI in the name. Since in order to install it or add it back as a feature, we need to have the exact name, or name exactly how it's listed. So after that, we did install dash Windows feature dash name dash server GUI dash mgmt dash infra, and then we did one more, install dash Windows feature dash name space dash server dash GUI dash shell. Good. Save this and see where we are. Connect and connect. So I'm going to go to other user, ADATUM/administrator, and then the password. We've got one more thing to do, and that's going to be on server C. As soon as it comes up, we will go there and finish up this lab 2, and that'll be the end of this video. Okay, from the server manager, we're going to go into Tools and click on PowerShell ISE. And from here, we're going to click on View, and we want to select Show Script Pane. Now we're going to type this script exactly how I type it. Click on File and Run. In the console pane of the PS prompt, we're going to type company web. Now the tool creates an MOF file in a subdirectory called company web, and that's what we see here. Now we're going to type in the following command to execute the configuration. We'll click on start-dsc configuration, wait, verbose, path, dot, slash, company web. Enter. And we have green. That's a good sign. It's showing the results of the configuration. And we are done with Lab 2. Once this is done installing, but I'm going to stop the video now. And once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and shut down all of my servers again. And the next lab we will go into, for Lab 3, we will reboot all of our servers and start from there.